the new FLYON XDURO Enduro from Haibike. Is this the cheapest midlife crisis on the market? Let's go find out. Riders, welcome back to the channel, and today on this episode it's all about the monster truck from Haibike. FLYON XDURO Enduro is the most powerful e-bike in its class. From the moment you get on the FLYON, you realize it's a different beast. Put her in top gear and smile all the way to the top of the mountain. A few months ago I got a pretty cool phone call from our mate Iñaki. He was like, "Hey Sam, do you want to go and test ride the new monster truck from Haibike?" And I was like, do I want to go and ride the new monster truck? Of course I want to go and ride the new monster truck. The reason that he couldn't ride it is he rides an M and they were only testing an L. As we know, it's very important getting that size right. So it was sorted. I would be going to Roc de Thur to test the new monster truck from Haibike for MTB Pro, which is a Spanish mountain bike magazine, the best one in Spain. If anyone's thinking about practicing their Spanish, check out this magazine. It really is top notch with amazing journalists and photographers. If anyone hasn't heard much about Roc de Thur, it is the biggest mountain bike event of the year in France. Not only do you get to see the best mountain bikes, the best e-bikes, the best road bikes, it's also the who's who of mountain biking and cycling. While I was there, I managed to have a chat and get a few photos with Miriam Nicole, who is one of my favorite mountain bikers. She's actually really nice in person. Also got to see the champ from Commensal Piton. Really loved hanging out at this weekend. Before I start my first thoughts, because I don't actually think it's a review because I only did 2 hours on the bike, but I want to give a massive shout out to MTB Pro for trusting me on this job, and also for Haibike. They went beyond the call of duty to just make sure everything went as planned on the weekend. Vincent Joliot, the press officer, and he also took me out on the ride, 2.5 hours. I'm pretty sure he was trying to kill me. When he was a junior, he won the French championships for downhill and cross country in the same year. Not sure if that's ever happened before or will ever happen again, but one thing is for sure, this guy can ride. And Thomas Mir, the professional photographer that works at Haibike, he took all the photos that you're seeing in this video, and check out his Instagram, the guy can shoot. Okay, so Saturday morning, we get out and we've driven about half an hour away from the event, Roc de Thur. We got the bikes out, and the first thing I had to do is I had to put it in extreme mode and just feel the power of the 120 Newton meter of torque from the TQ motor. And I tell you what, guys, it is unbelievable. The power, it's like power band. It just is, it's another world. It really blew me away. The Enduro has been one of the most talked about bikes in the last 12 months. The beast is seriously sexy, being the flagship model in the new FLYON range. Its chunky carbon frame design, 120 Newton meters of torque, full Fox Kashima suspension, and top spec parts. Okay, so when you read about, this new motor with 120 Newton meters of torque, you think, really, am I going to be able to obtain that torque without just spinning that back wheel? And I was very impressed with how it delivered the power. I mean, you have to get your cadence right, you have to get your gears right, but if you get that right, you can actually control that beast going uphill, and it's pretty laughable. I mean, I went up some pretty serious steep hills on this bike. The TQ motor does have a specific kind of buzzing noise. I mean, I would say it's a similar decibel level to a Shimano, so it's not as quiet as a Bros motor, but at the same time it's not annoying, but it does have a specific sound. The Enduro comes with a 630 watt hour battery, which did seem sufficient for a 2 to 3 hour ride, but I did leave the ride almost on empty. But I have to say, riders, I mean, it's one of those things like you are on the most powerful bike in production at the moment. I mean, I didn't want to ride an eco or trail. I wanted to ride in extreme the whole time. If you are a type of person that likes to ride 4 or 5 hours, I would definitely consider getting an extra battery. And there's also another option of a 10 amp charger, which what that means is you can charge your battery up to 80% of its capacity in an hour, I believe. With power comes compromise. And this thing is a monster truck. It's got a lot of power. When I looked at the geometry numbers, I saw a 470 chainstay. And for me, that's very, very long. But when getting on the bike, it made sense. Because when you're climbing and you've got that much power, you would just be, you can get your weight forward on the bike, but with that much power, you really need a long chainstay or the bike would just be lifting up. The bike felt actually pretty agile and pretty poppy and fun for such a big, heavy bike. The wheelbase is 1290. The amazing motor has all the power you need to get up the nastiest of climbs. And the 74-degree seat tube angle helps you get your weight over the front of the bike. Once you point the beast downhill, it's in its element. With the 64-degree head angle, you can also flip the chip and put it into DH destroyer mode. But I wouldn't recommend this unless you're riding bike park or somewhere that doesn't have a lot of rocks. I rode it in the higher setting and I found the bottom bracket pretty low. I'm not sure I'd want to go much lower than that. The bike actually tracks really well on the trail and that weight, riders, disappears. It's 28 kilos, and when I first read that, I was pretty blown away. But trust me, when you're out on the trail, that weight really does disappear. Okay, on the really steep and technical stuff, I did feel the extra weight of that 28 kilos. I did feel my body being sort of pushed over the bars a little bit and losing a little bit of traction. But as I said, you know, with power comes compromise. So it's kind of, you can't have everything. If you're going on cross country or undulating trails across the mountain, the bike is super responsive and it doesn't ride like a 28 kilo bike. I was overall very impressed with the handling and the feel of the bike and the balance of the bike. So we've got a really long chainstays at 470 and we have a reach of 467 in a large. And I just found the bike really well balanced. And I would say that the first thing I felt when I was riding the bike, just how balanced it felt. It's hard not to feel like this bike's from the future. I had a warning come up and I tried to reset the system control. And I was kind of a little bit shocked that for such a futuristic bike, that the main screen, the large screen, wasn't a touch screen. I would love to see this added in the next generation of these bikes. The Haibike remote has 5 power settings. And this seemed a little bit too much coming from the Shimano system on my decoy. But I have to tell you, with this much power, I actually think 5 power settings is perfect for this bike. There was a little thing that, I mean, it's a small nig, where you actually change the power setting. The button I found a little bit too sensitive and a little bit too small. And this is something that ergonomically you would get used to. But when I was riding it and riding it fast and I wanted to find that power mode really quick, I managed to not hit it, and then I hit it too much and it moved up 2 or down 2. So I would like to see that remote button just a little bit bigger and less sensitive. Okay, models and cost. So the XDURO Enduro comes in 3 models. The 10.0, that's the one I tested, is 9,900 euros. The 8.0 is 6,999, and the 5.0 is 6,299. Okay, the verdict. Riders, it is so hard to test a bike in 2 hours. So I'm just going to say my first thoughts of the bike are, for such a big bike, such a big powerful bike, it handled very well, better than I expected. It's a lot of fun, that 120 Newton meters of torque. You just want to be in that mode the whole time. I loved burning up and down the mountains. I kind of feel that it is so much fun that, you know, I personally would probably burn through the battery pretty quick. I definitely would be getting the 500 watt extra battery. I just think that the extreme mode is so much fun. You're going to want to use it more probably, and I would definitely get that extra battery. Pros and cons. The best pro, in extreme mode, this bike is so much fun. It makes you feel like a 15-year-old again. Climbing, it climbs like a beast. And descending, that 28 kilos, you really feel planted down onto the trail, and it gives you a feeling of security. Cons, okay, it is a pretty expensive bike, but in 2020 we are seeing a lot of these bikes get up to 10,000 euros, so actually the price isn't too bad. I would say with that powerful motor, I would like to see, like with the Merida E160, the new 10K, it's coming with 2 batteries. I think Haibike should probably package up 2 batteries on this bike, especially in the pro level. Okay, who's this bike for? I think this bike's for someone that's a little bit leery, a bit loud, wants that fancy bike that no one really has. There's not that many around. Someone that likes to go fast, and someone that maybe doesn't have that much time but wants to smash up for an hour and a half, 2-hour ride, and really wants to just get the business going up and get the business going down the hill as fast as possible. All in all, I really enjoyed riding this bike, and I thank Haibike for making this possible. Riders, hit me up if you have any questions related to this bike. I am still in contact with Haibike and I could get them answered for you. Riders, once again, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like the channel. It's a lot of work, and enjoy those trails out there, and I'll see you next Friday.